Protect my daughter. The alien's last wish echoed in space. Years later, she returned to find him raising Rin. In the silent expanse between stars, where the only light came from the pale, fractured crescent of a shattered moon, a battered alien vessel drifted, half swallowed by shadow. Inside, chaos reigned. Flickering consoles sparked against scorched walls, and the air shimmered with leaking coolant. Amidst this ruin, Lyra lay slumped against a console, her breath ragged, her body slick with blood that shimmered like liquid mercury. She pressed her newborn daughter to her chest, cradling the fragile life against the cold. The baby whimpered, tiny fists trembling, eyes closed. Lyra brushed a trembling hand across the girl's forehead, whispering words in a language lost to this quadrant of the galaxy. "Stay, little star, stay." Beyond the debris field, a human freighter crept closer, the hull patched with mismatched plates and scorch marks. In the cramped cockpit, Marcus studied the readout. An emergency beacon, faint but insistent, pulsed across the void. Cole's voice crackled over the intercom, heavy with concern. "That's Silurian code, Marcus. Their ships don't go down by accident. This could be a trap. Or worse." Marcus's jaw clenched. "Somebody's alive in there." He glanced at the battered viewport, his gaze hardening. "I'm not leaving them." Cole sighed, resigned. "You always do this, you know." Bringing home strays. Marcus grinned, but the humor didn't reach his eyes. He flicked a switch, guiding the wayfarer through tumbling debris. As the alien ship came into view, Marcus caught a glimpse through a cracked viewport. A woman, her skin pale as moonlight, features sharp and inhuman, crimson eyes wide with terror. Her hair, wild and red streaked with black, fanned around her face like a halo of dying embers. "Cole, I see her. She's hurt. I'm going in. Watch yourself. I'll keep the engines hot." Marcus grabbed his suit, the motion practiced but his hands shaking. He sealed his helmet and cycled through the airlock, heart pounding in his ears as he launched himself across the void, toward the broken ship. Inside, gravity was unreliable. Marcus floated, boots skimming scorched metal as he moved toward the dimmed bridge. The sharp, metallic tang of Silurian blood lingered in the air. Lyra's gaze snapped to him, wary and desperate. She struggled upright, shielding her child. "Don't be afraid," Marcus said, raising his gloved hands. "I'm here to help." Lyra's voice was a trembling whisper, almost lost in the static hum of failing life support. You are human?" "Yes. My name's Marcus. Let me get you." She cut him off, clutching the infant tighter. "No time. Listen to me." Her words were urgent, each syllable laced with pain. "Take my daughter. Hide her. My people, the Silurians. They hunt her. She is different. An anomaly. If they find her, she will die." Marcus's gaze dropped to the child, her features sharp, too alien for any human world, but her chest rose and fell with the fragile rhythm of life. Lyra shuddered, every breath a struggle. "They are coming. You must go." The distant thrum of engines grew louder, echoing through the ruined hull. Enemy ships, closing in. Lyra pressed her child into Marcus's arms, her blood smearing the fabric of his suit. Her eyes, brilliant crimson, already dulling, locked onto his. "Let her grow with kindness. Teach her to be brave, but never hard. Promise me." Marcus swallowed the lump in his throat. "I promise. I'll keep her safe." A flicker of relief crossed Lyra's face. With the last of her strength, she brushed her daughter's cheek. "Her name is Rin." Her voice faltered, breaking like the hull around them. "Go." Marcus turned, clutching the infant close. The ship began to tremble, alarms wailing as systems failed. He launched himself back through the airlock, feeling the heat of explosions at his back. The Wayfarer's hatch yawned open. Cole hauled him inside, eyes wide. Move! We have company! As Marcus buckled into the pilot's chair, he cradled Rin against his chest. Through the viewport, the alien vessel blossomed into fire, consumed by the silent fury of the void. Lyra was lost to the stars. Rin stirred, her crimson eyes fluttering open, fixing on Marcus with a gaze both ancient and new. He swallowed, heart twisting, and whispered, "You're safe. I promise." He felt the weight of that vow settle over them, the shape of their futures changing in its wake. Years passed. On the frontier world of New Dawn, under harsh suns and wild blooming sky, Marcus watched as Rin, grown tall, her pale skin luminous, red-black hair falling in a wild mane, stood in the midst of a heated argument. Settlers squared off against a group of Silurian refugees, voices raised, tension crackling like static. Rin's crimson eyes swept over the crowd, measuring, weighing, understanding. "Please," she said, her voice calm, carrying authority beyond her years. "We have more in common than you think. We all want a place to belong." Her words wove through the crowd, unraveling anger, knotting hope in its place. Cole, leaning against a fence, shook his head in wonder. "She's something else, Marcus. I've never seen anyone talk those two sides down. Except maybe you." Marcus smiled, pride and worry mingling. "She's got her mother's strength." Rin finished mediating, the tension in the square dissolving into uneasy peace. She flashed a smile at Marcus and Cole, her gaze lingering on the horizon as if she saw something far beyond the settlement. That night, Rin stood alone outside their modest homestead. The sky blazed with stars, and her eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. Dreams haunted her sleep, voices whispering her name, visions of distant galaxies, of a mother's face lost to memory. Days later, Governor Hale called a meeting in the settlement hall. The crowd buzzed with speculation, but all eyes turned to Rin as the governor's words rang out. "The Interstellar Union is sending envoys. They wish to meet with you, Rin?" Marcus's heart lurched. Rin's hands trembled as she stepped away from the crowd, searching his face for answers he couldn't give. "Marcus, what if they know? What if they've found me?" Her voice quavered, fear and longing tangled together. He reached for her, but before his arms could close around her, Rin's eyes flared, a surge of unknown power crackling beneath her skin. She gasped, staggering. Marcus caught her as she collapsed, his arms wrapping around her trembling form. Fear warred with love on his face. She looked up at him, voice barely a whisper. "They've found me." High above, aboard a sleek cruiser hidden among the stars, another pair of crimson eyes watched a console, tracking a signal that pulsed like a heartbeat. Lyra, alive, pressed her palm to the glass, her own voice lost in the hush. At last, she had found her daughter. The Union flagship, Celestial Grace, descended over New Dawn in a wash of golden thrusters, casting shifting shadows across the settlement's battered rooftops. As the ship's immense hull settled with a tremor that rippled through the dusty ground, all eyes turned to the landing field. Marcus stood tall at Rin's side, his weathered hand hovering protectively at her back as the ship's ramp extended with mechanical grace. Rin's heart thudded in her chest as she watched the delegation emerge, their uniforms crisp, faces unreadable. But it was the woman at their center who stole her breath, a tall figure, regal and composed, skin pale as starlight, her features sharply angular. Crimson eyes flicked across the crowd, settling on Rin with a gaze both searching and familiar. Red-black hair swept back from her face, not a strand out of place. Governor Hale cleared his throat. "May I present Chief Mediator Rin, our colony's voice." His tone wavered between pride and awe. The delegation parted. The woman stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. "Rin," she said, voice low and melodic, "it is an honor to meet you. I am Lyra, emissary of the Silurian Council. Her gaze lingered on Marcus for the briefest moment, recognition sparking in her crimson eyes before she composed herself. Rin bowed her head. "Welcome to New Dawn, Lyra. The honor is mine." Her voice carried, steady despite the storm of questions behind her eyes. Lyra extended her hand, fingers long and elegant. "The Council has heard much of your work here. Your ability to bridge divides is remarkable for one so young." She glanced at Governor Hale, then back to Rin. "What guides you in your decisions?" Rin hesitated, feeling Marcus's presence steady her. "Empathy. I try to understand what each side fears and what they hope for." Lyra's lips curled in a faint smile, though her gaze sharpened. "And if understanding fails? If peace is impossible? Then I remind them that survival itself is a form of hope." Rin replied softly. A ripple of approval moved through the delegation. Lyra's eyes, however, flickered to Marcus again, lingering with unspoken history. After the formalities, the delegation moved inside the council hall, its walls humming with nervous energy. Lyra requested a private meeting, only Rin and Marcus. The chamber's doors slid shut with a whisper, sealing the three inside. The mask of diplomacy fell away from Lyra's face. Her shoulders sagged, and for a heartbeat she looked almost fragile. "You must forgive the performance. There are eyes and ears everywhere," she said quietly. Marcus's hand drifted to Rin's shoulder. "What's this about, Lyra?" She stepped closer, her gaze fixed on Rin. "I am not only an emissary, I am your mother." The words hung in the air, shattering the fragile calm. Rin stared, shock and longing warring in her eyes. "My mother died 16 years ago. I saw her ship explode." Lyra's voice trembled, cracks spiderwebbing her composure. "I survived. I followed the beacon I left for you, one I thought lost, until you called out to me." She turned to Marcus, eyes narrowing. "You kept her hidden well." Marcus bristled, jaw set. "She was just a child. You left her. You left both of us." Rin's voice broke through, sharp with pain. "Why did you abandon me?" Tears welled in Lyra's crimson eyes, spilling over her pale cheeks. "I had no choice. The Silurian Council saw your gifts as a weapon, a mind weaver unlike any before. If I had stayed, they would have turned you into a tool of war, as they did to so many before you. I gave you to Marcus so you could learn kindness, not conquest." Rin's voice trembled. "You left me alone." Lyra shook her head. "Never alone. You had him." She gestured to Marcus. "And through you, I watched the signals, the mediations, the impossible peace you built. Humans taught you to care." Marcus's anger flared. "And now you want her back? For politics?" Lyra's shoulders stiffened. "No. I want to learn from you both. My people stand at the edge of a precipice. Old ambitions, old fears. But I see what Rin is, what she could be. Not Silurian, not human. Something more." Silence settled over them, heavy and fragile. Rin studied Lyra, searching for deception. "Why now?" she whispered. "Because war is coming," Lyra replied. "Three great powers, humans, Silurians, Dravari, circle each other, each waiting for a sign of weakness. The Council believes your abilities, your insight, could avert disaster. But they do not trust themselves to guide you." Marcus stepped forward, his voice raw. "If you want her to fight—" Lyra cut him off, pain flickering in her eyes. "I want her to choose. To help us build something new, not destroy what little hope remains." Rin lifted her chin, her crimson eyes aglow with an inner light. "If I agree, Marcus comes with me. I won't do this alone." Lyra's lips parted in surprise. Then she nodded, solemn and sincere. "Of course. You are stronger together. I see that now." Marcus's hand tightened on Rin's. "Are you sure about this?" Rin turned to him, the old ache in her heart now edged with resolve. It's time I learned who I am and what I can do. But I need you, Marcus. You're my family. He managed a smile, rough and wavering. Then we go together. Always. Lyra regarded them both, grief and hope mingling in her gaze. This changes everything. The council will not accept you easily, but you are not alone anymore, Rin. Outside, the world of New Dawn bustled with rumor and awe as word spread. Rin, the lost Mindweaver, had been found. Her name leapt from mouth to mouth, stirring hope, suspicion, and fear in equal measure. The balance of power shifted. The fragile peace she had built now trembled, but the eyes of two worlds turned to her. On the landing field, the ramp of Lyra's ship beckoned. Rin glanced back at the only home she had ever known, the dusty paths, the familiar faces, the memory of childhood laughter. Marcus squeezed her hand, Cole offering a brief, fierce hug. "Come back in one piece, kid," he murmured, voice thick. Rin met Lyra's gaze, the past and future colliding between them. Together, mother, daughter, and the man who had raised her, they ascended the ramp. The hatch sealed behind them with a sigh, and New Dawn fell away beneath the thrumming engines. Their journey had begun, and none of them could know where it would end. On the Celestial Grace, tension threaded the air as the ship hurtled through the stars. The corridors, polished and silent, seemed to amplify every unspoken word. Marcus found himself wandering the observation deck late into the cycle, eyes fixed on the shifting tapestry of space outside. He heard the soft hiss of doors and sensed Lyra's presence before she spoke. She stepped beside him, her reflection wavering in the glass, angular features softened by the distant starlight, crimson eyes shadowed with memories. For a moment, neither spoke. The hum of the engines was their only witness. "You never did like ships this clean," Lyra said at last, her tone gentle, almost teasing. Marcus gave a small, rueful smile. "Give me the Wayfarer, a loose panel or two. I miss knowing every creak means something." Lyra's lips quirked, but the smile faded quickly. "You were always different, Marcus. That's why I trusted you with her." He turned, searching her face. Was it trust or desperation? She drew in a shaky breath, crimson gaze dropping to her hands. "Both. I thought I would die. I thought she would die, if I did not find someone. Someone with a heart untouched by our wars." Marcus's voice softened. "I never wanted her to be a weapon. Or a prize." Lyra's shoulders slumped, the weight of years settling over her. "Neither did I. But grief, it hardens you. I spent so long mourning what I'd lost, I forgot to hope for what might still be found." He watched her, old memories flickering, of Lyra's laughter in quiet corners, the fierce protectiveness in her eyes, the way her voice trembled when she spoke of her homeworld. He remembered the night she'd given him Rin, her hands shaking, eyes wild with terror and love. Their silence was broken by the shrill ping of the comm. Lyra composed herself instantly, moving to the console. Marcus followed, tension returning to his frame. On the main holotable, colored sigils blinked and clustered. Fleets of the Interstellar Union, the Silurian Imperium, and the Dravari Ascendancy, arrayed across the stars. Lines of transmission flickered erratically between them. A junior officer's voice trembled over the comm. "Admiral, fleet coordination is unraveling. Orders are contradicting. Ships are breaking formation." Lyra frowned, fingers flying over the controls. "Show me the last hour's transmissions." Marcus leaned in, eyes narrowed. "That's not just confusion. Look, signals bouncing through relay stations, doubling back, amplifying." Lyra's brow furrowed. "It's almost deliberate, as if someone's feeding every side new reasons to be afraid." Another alarm blared, and the holotable flashed red. First Blood. Two Dravari cruisers fired on a Union patrol, energy signatures flaring like lightning across the void. The bridge crew erupted in shouts. Rin burst onto the deck, her face pale, eyes glowing faintly. "Stop!" she cried. "It's not them. It's something behind them all. I can feel it." Marcus caught her as she staggered, concern etched deep. "Rin, what is it?" She pressed trembling fingers to her temples. "It's like a storm in my mind. Fear, anger, hatred, amplified. Someone's twisting it, making every captain see an enemy in the dark." Lyra's expression turned grim. A mind weaver, but not one of the council. Rin's breath caught. "No. Different, like me. But wrong. There's no empathy, only hunger. I sense. Meridian Station. All the chaos there. So many diplomats. So much fear. It's the perfect place to hide psychic manipulation." Marcus looked to Lyra. "If we don't stop them, this turns into open war." Lyra nodded. "Set course for Meridian Station. Maximum speed." The celestial grace spun on a plume of blue fire, the engine's song rising. On the bridge, the crew moved with grim purpose, relaying orders, plotting trajectories, and broadcasting ceasefire signals in desperate bursts. As the chaos unfolded, Marcus and Lyra found themselves together again in the narrow corridor outside the war room. Rin had retreated to meditate, seeking clarity amid the tempest of emotions. Lyra's voice broke the silence. "She's stronger than I ever imagined, and yet, so fragile. I fear for her." Marcus's eyes softened. "She's had to be both. She's your daughter, Lyra, and mine, in every way that matters." A long silence stretched between them. Then Lyra reached out, her hand trembling as it found Marcus's. Their fingers brushed, tentative, then entwined. "I was afraid of you once," Lyra admitted. "You refused to hate, even when you lost everything. I thought you were weak, but you were the strongest of us all." He squeezed her hand, voice rough. "You're not alone anymore. You don't have to be hard." She met his gaze, old pain yielding to something gentler. "Thank you, Marcus, for raising her with hope, for not letting my mistakes become hers." He smiled, a real, unguarded smile. "We did this together. We're still doing it." A soft chime interrupted them. Rin's presence filled the corridor, her crimson eyes fierce. "I'm ready. I can follow the signal at Meridian, but I'll need you both." Marcus's grip on Lyra's hand lingered a moment longer before he turned, placing a steadying arm around Rin's shoulders. "We're with you, kid. Always." The ship dropped out of hyperspace in sight of Meridian Station, a sprawling hub of glass and alloy, its surface aglow with diplomatic shuttles and warships poised for violence. The comm crackled with warnings. "Unauthorized approach. Stand down or be fired upon." Lyra's voice rang with authority. "This is Celestial Grace. We come to prevent war, not wage it. Stand down your weapons." "Let us dock." There was a long pause, then grudging permission. As the docking clamps engaged, Rin closed her eyes, reaching out with her mind. Her breath quickened, sweat beading her brow. "I can feel him. He's close. He knows I'm here." Marcus exchanged a worried glance with Lyra. "We stick together." Lyra nodded, squeezing Marcus's hand once before releasing it, her expression unreadable but her eyes shining with determination. They moved as one, crossing the docking tube into the pulsing heart of Meridian Station. Sirens wailed, diplomats shouted, soldiers rushed to their posts, the scent of panic thick in the recycled air. In the chaos, Rin led them, guided by invisible threads of fear and pain. Through the tumult, Marcus and Lyra stayed close, their shoulders brushing, hands occasionally finding each other in silent reassurance. Old wounds ached, but something new pulsed beneath the surface, hope, fragile but real. In a rare lull as they waited outside the council chamber, Lyra leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. Whatever happens, thank you. For her. For this second chance. Marcus touched her cheek, his thumb gentle. We'll get through this. Together. Rin watched them, her heart swelling with hope and certainty. She turned toward the chamber doors, resolve burning in her eyes. Side by side, the three of them stepped forward, family, forged in sacrifice and bound by love, ready to face the shadows that threatened the galaxy's fragile peace. Meridian Station pulsed with anxiety. The corridors throbbed with hurried footsteps, tense whispers, and the constant flicker of warning lights along the ceiling panels. Every face was tight with suspicion. Every uniformed guard's hand hovered near a weapon. Rin led the way, her stride swift, crimson eyes darting from shadow to shadow. The closer she drew to the heart of the station, the more the psychic tension pressed against her mind, a darkness moving beneath the surface, powerful and cold. She halted before the ambassadorial suites, just outside a pair of armored guards. Their expressions hardened as Marcus, Lyra, and Rin approached. One guard blocked their path, palm lifted. Restricted access. No admittance during security lockdown. Lyra's voice slid in, calm and commanding. I am Lyra of the Silurian Council. These are my authorized companions. She flicked her ident chip, projecting credentials. The guards exchanged a glance, unease flickering in their eyes. Rin stepped forward, her voice gentle but unyielding. Someone inside is manipulating your people. If we don't act, this station will be the first casualty of a war that will burn worlds. A beat of hesitation. Then the guards stepped aside. The doors parted, revealing a suite thick with the hum of surveillance. Monitors stacked along the walls, feeds flickering with images from across the station, consoles bristling with controls. In the center of the room, a young man stood. His skin was pale as starlight, his hair jet black, eyes the same unearthly crimson as Rin's. He wore a crisp, dark uniform. His posture was regal, but his gaze was empty, all warmth stripped away. His fingers danced across a control panel, and the feeds pulsed with flashes of violence, fleets arming, commanders shouting, chaos building. He turned to greet them, voice smooth as glass. I wondered how long it would take you to find me, sister. Rin froze, shock and recognition rippling through her. Sister? She whispered. The young man smiled, brittle and cold. My name is Kale. We share a mother, though you had the luxury of ignorance. I was stolen before you opened your eyes, shaped by the Council's hand to be what you refused to become, a weapon of peace. Lyra staggered, color draining from her face. No. Kyle. They told me you died. Kyle's lips twisted. I died to you. But the Council saw promise. If not in love, then in fear. I learned early that kindness is a weakness, that only control brings order. You let her go, Mother. I was never given that choice. Marcus stepped forward, anger burning in his eyes. You're wrong. Rin isn't weak. She's strong because she cares. Kale's gaze flicked to Marcus, contemptuous. You're the human stray who softened her. I've watched you coddle her, teach her mercy. What has it gained you? Nothing but the threat of annihilation. Rin drew herself up, trembling with the effort to hold back tears. You don't have to do this. You don't have to be alone. A sneer curled Kale's lips. Alone? I am surrounded by power. With a thought, I can drive armies to war. Or silence them forever. Join me, Rin. Together we could end all conflict. Not with hope, but with certainty. She shook her head, voice ringing. No. Peace built on fear isn't peace at all. I won't be what they made you. Kale's eyes flashed. The room chilled, shadows stretching and warping as a psychic wind slammed into them. Lyra reeled, clutching her temples. Marcus grunted, forced to one knee. Rin staggered, her mind assaulted by Kale's fury, a torrent of voices, doubts, and pain. Kale advanced, voice booming inside their skulls. "You're weak, Rin. You can't save them." But Rin stood her ground, crimson eyes blazing. "I'm not alone." Marcus, gasping, forced himself upright. He stepped between the twins, shielding Rin with his body. Lyra moved to his side, her presence steadying. Their hands found each other, fingers entwining. The warmth of their bond spilled outward. Lyra's fierce maternal love, Marcus's stubborn protectiveness, their unspoken, growing affection. Rin felt their emotions flood through her. Love, hope, sacrifice. It wove a shield around her, a barrier against Kale's darkness. She drew on their strength, letting it anchor her as Kale's assault intensified. Kale screamed, psychic energy crackling. Monitors exploded, sparks arcing across the room. The feeds erupted with chaos, fleets launching, ships arming, officers bellowing for blood. Kale seized the station's network, his voice a weapon, sending panic cascading through every channel. "If you will not join me, then I will end this my way," Kale roared, eyes wild. Rin gasped, realization dawning. He's using the comms, the neural relays. He's amplifying fear across the fleets. If I can reach through the same channels. Marcus squeezed her hand. "You can do this, Rin. We believe in you." Lyra pressed her other hand to Rin's shoulder, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Let them feel what I feel for you. Show them there's another way." Rin closed her eyes, drawing in their love, letting it burn through every corner of her soul. She reached outward, not with domination, but with empathy. Her mind brushed the network, threading between signals, searching for hearts on the edge of panic. She poured compassion into the void, a wave of understanding, forgiveness, hope. Across the galaxy, commanders faltered. Triggers hovered over firing switches, then dropped. Hostile orders became confused whispers. Men and women on every bridge blinked, clarity breaking through the red haze. The order to attack was not given. Ships held their positions, crews shaken but unbroken. In the ruined suite, Kale collapsed to his knees, breath ragged. The monitors fell silent, the station's alarms dying into a hush. Rin knelt beside him, her voice gentle. "You don't have to be alone, Kale. I forgive you." Kale looked up, eyes hollow but wet with tears. "I don't know how," he whispered. She touched his hand, her warmth steady. "Let me show you." Behind them, Lyra wept openly, her whole body trembling with relief and sorrow. She turned to Marcus, her voice breaking. "You saved her. Not just Rin. Me. I thought I'd lost the part of me that could love." Marcus's hand found hers, rough fingers gentle. "You never lost it. You just needed someone to remind you." They stood together in the flickering light, hands entwined, hearts open, the air between them charged with an unspoken promise. The spark that had always burned between them now glowed brighter than ever, a beacon against the darkness that had almost consumed them all. Weeks later, beneath the crystalline domes of Celeria Prime, Rin stood before the assembled Union Council. The chamber soared above her, filled with the voices of a dozen worlds, human, Celerian, Dravari, and more. Their ambassadors perched in concentric tiers that shimmered with reflected starlight. Rin's red-black hair caught the glow, her angular features framed by the flowing silver robes of a mediator. Her crimson eyes swept the hall, searching for understanding. In the gallery, Marcus and Lyra sat together. Their hands rested, fingers entwined, a small defiance against the sorrow that had once haunted them. Now, their closeness radiated quiet strength. The pain of the past had softened into a deep, undeniable love. Marcus caught Lyra's gaze, the hint of a smile passing between them. The council president's voice echoed through the chamber. Rin of New Dawn, you may present your proposal. Rin took a breath. Honored delegates, we stand on the edge of a new era, one haunted by memories of war, but brightened by the promise of unity. At Meridian Station, the galaxy nearly tore itself apart, not through malice, but because fear outpaced trust. Her voice resonated, confident and warm. She pressed her hands together, letting her mind brush the emotions in the room. I propose the creation of a Mindweaver Corps, an order of mediators trained not only in the arts of diplomacy, but in the sharing and balancing of emotion itself. Humans, Silurians, Dravari, every species can contribute. The Corps will diffuse conflict before it erupts, forging understanding where words alone fail. A ripple ran through the delegates, some intrigued, others visibly alarmed. A human admiral leaned forward, suspicion in his tone. You ask us to trust psychic manipulation in the name of peace? The Meridian incident showed us how dangerous such power can be. Rin met his gaze. That is why transparency is crucial. No hidden agendas, no secret training. Every Mindweaver will be known to the Council, their work documented. We will serve openly, with empathy as our shield. A Silurian delegate stood, eyes narrowed. Who will lead this corps? Who will answer for its mistakes? Rin's voice did not waver. I will. I volunteer to serve as the first leader, to be accountable for every action. I know the risks. I will take them willingly. In the gallery, Marcus's hand tightened on Lyra's. She felt the tremor in his grip. She's braver than I ever was, he whispered. Lyra smiled, pride and worry mingling in her gaze. She's all of us at our best. The chamber erupted into debate, ambassadors raising concerns, voicing support, demanding safeguards. Through it all, Rin stood unmoved, her eyes shining, her empathy radiating calm. Slowly, the chaos ebbed. The president nodded. Your proposal will be put to a vote. Later, in a quiet antechamber, Marcus and Lyra found Rin standing by the window, watching the city's crystalline towers glimmer in the setting light. Marcus crossed to her, voice low. You're volunteering for a life in the crosshairs, Rin. You don't have to carry this alone. Lyra moved to her other side, the concern in her face clear. They will come for you, those who fear change. Even the council cannot protect you always. Rin turned, her warmth encompassing them both. I know. But this is my path. After Meridian, I can't ignore what I am, or what I can do for the galaxy. Marcus shook his head, worry etched deep. You deserve peace, Rin. A real life, not just duty. She reached out, taking both their hands. Peace is something we have to fight for every day. I can't walk away from this, and I don't want to do it without you. She smiled, fierce and loving. I want my family at my side. Marcus, as chief operative. Lyra, as diplomatic advisor. I need you both. Lyra's eyes filled with tears, pride and love warring with fear. You've given me more than a second chance, Rin. You've made me believe again. If you lead, I will follow. Marcus exhaled, a wry smile breaking through. Guess we're in this together then. But you'd better listen to your old man's advice once in a while. Rin laughed, the sound light and full of hope. Deal. They embraced, arms wrapped tight, a family bound not by blood alone, but by all they had risked for one another. In that moment, the years of loss faded, replaced by something new and unbreakable. A sharp knock at the door broke the spell. An aide entered, breathless. Forgive me, there's trouble in the Tarsian sector. Unrest is spreading among the colonies. Reports of psychic disturbances, similar to what happened at Meridian. Rin's eyes sharpened, a flare of resolve igniting within. She turned to Marcus and Lyra. Looks like we don't get a quiet beginning. Marcus grinned, rolling his shoulders. Wouldn't know what to do with one anyway. Lyra stepped forward, her confidence shining. The core is not even formed, and already the galaxy calls. Rin squeezed their hands, then strode from the room, her silver robes trailing, eyes blazing with determination. Marcus and Lyra followed side by side, partners, advisors, and family. In the council hall, news of the Tarsian crisis had already spread. Rin's name echoed through the chamber, her presence inspiring hope and urgency alike. She gathered the first Mindweavers, their faces young and old, human and Silurian, each marked by the promise of something better. The quiet life they might have claimed was gone, replaced by purpose. As they stepped onto the transport, Marcus wrapped his arm around Lyra, drawing her close. She rested her head on his shoulder, love and pride shining in her eyes. Rin glanced back at them, her smile a promise. Together, they would face the unknown. Family, united not by fear, but by the hope they had chosen to fight for. The Mindweaver Corps launched into action, a new force for peace in a galaxy still learning to heal. And as their ship soared into the troubled stars, Rin, Marcus, and Lyra knew their purpose was clear, and their bond unbreakable. The Unity's light broke through Tarsia's roiling cloud cover, its hull gleaming above a planet on the edge of collapse. Fires scarred the sprawling cities below, columns of smoke rose against the bruised sky. Ships orbited in tense formation, weapons primed, each side daring the other to make the first move. On the ground, desperate refugees surged along broken roads, their faces streaked with soot and fear. Marcus stood at the ship's forward viewport, his jaw clenched as he surveyed the chaos. "It's worse than the reports?" he muttered. "Those ships, none are talking, all holding fire. Someone wants this to explode." Beside him, Lyra scanned the diplomatic feeds, her fingers flickering across the console. No one's answering requests for mediation. It's like every voice of reason has gone silent. She glanced at Marcus, a silent question passing between them. Rin joined them, her face determined. "Something's wrong. The pain here isn't just anger, it's being magnified. Someone is twisting it." Her crimson eyes closed as she extended her mind outward, brushing the psychic tides that crashed across the world below. She recoiled, breath shuddering. "There's a web," knotted through the refugee camps, the fleet, the city streets. It all leads to one person, a relief worker called Dr. Soren. Marcus's brow furrowed. "How does a doctor stoke a war?" "Not a normal doctor," Rin said. "He's feeding on hate, fanning the flames." Lyra nodded, already moving to coordinate. "I'll secure a landing zone near the largest camp. Marcus, prep the med teams. Rin, can you track Soren's signal?" Rin's focus sharpened. "I can feel him. He's in the north sector, surrounded by fear." The Unity's light touched down amid the swirling chaos of the camp. Armed guards shouted at desperate refugees, children huddled behind overturned crates, and medical tents overflowed with the wounded. The air was thick with despair, and at its center, Rin felt the oily pulse of Soren's mind. They pressed through the camp, Marcus clearing a path with calm authority, Lyra soothing frightened volunteers with practiced grace. Near the heart of the encampment, a crowd gathered, tensions boiling as two groups argued over dwindling food supplies. At the front, a tall man in a battered coat raised his voice, words sharp and cold. "You are weak," Soren spat, his eyes glittering with unnatural light. "They steal from you, and you let them. Fight back. Take what you need." His words rippled through the crowd, sparking shouts, then fists. Marcus grabbed a fleeing child, pulling her to safety as the mob surged. Rin stepped forward, voice ringing out, "Enough!" Her power flared, pressing against the chaos. This is not you. He's feeding your fear. Soren turned, lips curling in a mocking smile. You again, Mindweaver. Too late. They want blood. You can't save them all. He slipped away, vanishing into the turmoil as the riot erupted behind him. Lyra grabbed Rin's hand, her voice urgent. He's heading for the communications hub. Marcus met Rin's gaze, determination in his eyes. We split. I'll calm the camp. Go after him. Stop this before he broadcasts. Rin nodded, Lyra at her side. They raced through shattered alleys, the psychic storm mounting. The comms hub loomed, its doors battered, inside a tangle of wires and screens. Soren hunched over the controls, channeling a surge of malice through the broadcast array. You can't stop me, he hissed. With a word, I'll drown this planet in hate. Rin's voice was steady. Hate can't build anything, Soren, but compassion. He lashed out, psychic power slamming into her. Lyra gasped, staggering, but Rin held firm. You're not alone anymore, she whispered. I am not alone. Marcus's voice, steady and strong, echoed over the comm from the camp. People are listening, Rin. They want peace. Give it to them. Lyra placed her hand on Rin's shoulder, her love and hope flowing through their bond. Let them feel what we share. Rin reached out, linking her mind with Marcus's steadfast courage and Lyra's boundless empathy. Together, they poured a wave of compassion through the network. Memories of kindness, forgiveness, and hope radiating outward. The broadcast pulsed across Tarsia, touching soldiers, refugees, and leaders alike. Weapons dropped. Angry shouts faltered into stunned silence. In the cities, the flames subsided as neighbors reached for one another instead of turning away. The fleets in orbit withdrew their guns, confusion giving way to understanding. A hush swept the world. Soren screamed, the backlash of his own hatred turning on him. He collapsed, powerless, his malice swallowed by the tide of empathy. Rin knelt beside him, her voice gentle. Your pain is real, but it doesn't have to define you. There is another way. Soren stared at her, broken, then turned away, silent tears marking his surrender. As the world began to heal, Marcus moved through the camp, organizing relief supplies, tending the wounded, and restoring order. Lyra's voice rang out in the command tents, rallying leaders of every species to work together. Barriers crumbled as empathy triumphed where force had failed. In the aftermath, Rin addressed the weary crowd, her presence a beacon. Today, you proved that hope is stronger than hate. Every voice matters. Every heart can heal. Let's listen to one another and build something new. At her side, Marcus and Lyra stood together, partners in every sense. Their glances were full of shared memory, their hands never far apart. They had become more than survivors or leaders. They were the foundation of a new family. Among the first arrivals was Kale, his eyes softer now, his manner humble. He knelt beside Soren, offering comfort instead of judgment. Rin welcomed him, her smile forgiving, and invited him into the growing ranks of the Mindweaver Corps. Kale, once forged in darkness, turned his gifts to healing. As the days passed and Tarsia steadied, Marcus looked across the camp, pride swelling in his chest. He caught Rin's gaze, and she grinned back. The years of hardship transformed into a future filled with purpose. Lyra slipped her arm through his, her eyes bright with hope and love. Marcus, once a wanderer adrift among the stars, had found family and purpose in the most unlikely places. Lyra, who had lost so much to war and exile, rediscovered hope in love's embrace. Rin, standing at the helm, united them, and the galaxy, in a vision of peace. Together, bound by love, sacrifice, and unwavering hope, they led the Mindweaver Corps into a new era. Across Tarsia and beyond, empathy, not fear, became the language of destiny, and their family stood as its truest champions. That's the end of the story. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and write in the comments what you liked most about this story. Our team will be very grateful to you. You can find even more fascinating stories on our channel. See you in the next video.